Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage on a Sunday night, and I want to apologize for not making more Texas Gun Vault 2 videos lately. I have been so busy. I have never had a month of May like this when it comes to my professional career as a musician. I always got to play graduations at the end of the school year for various high schools and colleges and that kind of stuff. And this year, the International Trombone Festival was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I play in a couple of different ensembles that were invited to play. So I had rehearsals and performances and all the festivities around professional trombone playing. I know, it's hard to believe there's a festival for just trombones, but that's it. So I was doing a bunch of that and living my life as a trombone star and not a YouTube firearms star. So I'm back at it again. I had some time today to film the complete range report on the Kimber Pro Eclipse 2. I just finished editing that, uploaded it, and sent a kind of the link so Jack, the person that lent the gun to the channel, Jack number 1, the OG Jack, can see it. And I put it into the queue and then loaded it to my channel that I use for just my Patreons, and I'll put that in the queue for a Patreon release. But I have a few moments before I head on in, and I also cleaned that gun as well. So if I look like I have some dirt and stuff here on the shirt, it's because I was out here cleaning guns, and the place smells like, was it Hoppies or Hops number 9 right now. But I was able to meet my good friend D today. So now I have 3 more guns in queue, okay? So now that the week of craziness is over, I can get back to making more gun content. And I got a stack of guns to do. I'm getting through them as fast as I can. So I work tomorrow, got some lessons to teach, but hopefully in the evening I'll head to the range with 2 or 3 guns. But I want to show you what D lent to the channel this go around. And the first gun I want to show you is kind of interesting because I have a bias against this company, okay? But it's probably a very unfounded bias. And I want to explain the story first before I show you the gun, okay? Well, I should tell you what company it is first, okay? It's going to be Cabot Guns, Cabot Guns. And if you are knowledgeable in the world of 1911s, you probably have heard of Cabot Guns, because when they came out probably 10 years ago, maybe about 12 years ago or something, I was kind of pissed at them because I did not appreciate what they did to the 1911 world. And I saw the same thing happen, speaking of trombones, in the world of professional music. Cabot Guns came onto the scene, and I guess they were originally an aerospace company. Maybe they still do aerospace stuff. And they were known for having to machine very precise things, almost to perfection. And somehow they got into the world of guns, and they said, hey, out of all the guns we can build, we don't want to design our own gun. We want to make a top-tier 1911 like nobody else has ever made. And so they came out with a few different models. I think they had like a GI model. They had some other just custom things. I wasn't always a big fan of their aesthetic choices. Like when they skeletonized their triggers, they used to put in these stupid like stars on it. Someone said it looked like a stripper tattoo. But I didn't like the way that they looked. But I was fascinated by them because they claimed that this was the first 1911 because the machining was done so perfect that all of the parts were interchangeable. Now, 1911s always need a little bit of hand fitting to make them run and make them work right. But they claimed that their machining was so perfect, they were completely interchangeable parts. And probably 15 years ago, I would say a Colt 1911 cost $700, okay? $750, somewhere in that. For one of the nicer base models, maybe the XSC series was $899, okay? And of course, we have to adjust for inflation and all that kind of stuff, And I think that at that time, what I thought was like the top tier manufacturers would be something like a Nighthawk Custom, okay? And at that time, Nighthawk Custom was charging $2,500 to $3,400 for a 1911. And you're talking about a precision hand-built by one gunsmith from start to finish, and it was completely customized. And you're thinking all of the hours of work that went into that gun. Okay, now it might not have been worth anything to me. I'm like, I just like, kind of mil-spec 1911s and Colts and things. But at a $2,500 entry price point, you go, that is a lot of money. A lot of money for a 1911. But it's probably worth it because of the craftsmanship that goes into it. Well, then, Cabot Guns comes on the scene, okay? And you're talking at this time, as I said, top tier, top end, custom built 1911s, $2,500 to $3,000. Well, Cabot Guns comes on the scene, and their guns are $8,000 or $9,000. Unbelievable. Now, they wanted to market to top tier gun people, kind of like, those specialty like shotgun companies that have those over and under shotguns that are $30,000, $40,000. Those are the types of people that Cabot Guns wanted to appeal to, I think, in the beginning. I think they've kind of changed that, but they hit the market with these ridiculously expensive guns. Even like their GI model was like $6,000 for a gun that looked like a 1911 A1, okay? They just boasted that they were made to perfection, okay? But still, it's a 1911. And one of the things I thought about when it came to these guns was, well, imagine if somebody today comes out with a remake of the Ford Model T, okay? Now, that design is 100 and what? I think came out in 1903, 4, 5, somewhere in that area, the first decade of the 20th century. And they came out with a copy of the Model T, but they boast, we do it with modern manufacturing, this 115-year-old design. Modern manufacturing is the best Model T ever been made. You would still go, it's still 115 years old. It's still cool. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, a Model T is a piece of automotive history, right? We can all appreciate it. But it's a design that's 115 years old. So you're trying to sell me at that time on a design that was 100 years old, made on modern machinery. What in the world could possibly mean it's $6,000, $7,000? Now, then, it wasn't just the fact they offered this, because if people want to spend their money however they want to spend, it's their business, right? It's their right, and I support it. I mean, if somebody wants to come out with a 1911 and charge $3 million and someone buys it, hey, more power to them. But I saw this, speaking of the music world, there was a company that manufactured custom instruments in my world of trombone playing. And they kind of did the same thing about a decade before Cabot did this. And all of the other companies immediately, like let's just say the average cost of a really nice horn at the time was $2,500, $3,000. Well, this company came out, and I won't bore you with who it is because you guys don't care. They started at the $6,000, $7,000 price point, and they sold. So guess what every other company that made instruments began doing? That's right, jacking up their prices. They're like, holy smokes, there's a sucker born every minute. Well, if they're selling stuff at $6,000, $7,000, we can at least bump our stuff up by $1,500. And then all of a sudden, the market on everything just went sky high. It outpaced inflation hundreds of times. Cabot, in my opinion, did the exact same thing. When 1911 companies, custom companies, realized, oh my God, people will spend $7,000 on a 1911 A1 copy. What are we doing selling these things at $1,200? We got to charge $2,500, $3,000. And at that point, the 1911, for a long time, before these other kind of more affordable companies hit the market, the 1911 became an impractical gun for the average consumer. America's gun became unattainable at the quality level. And I blame Cabot. And ever since then, I've had a problem with Cabot. Not with their guns, not with their designs, not with their philosophy, but the fact that they charge so much money. Because in my mind, because I've worked at a machine shop, okay? I've worked in a machine shop. I know how this stuff works. I know that an item that a company may charge $200 or $300 for literally costs $6 to make. Even if it's machined perfectly on the highest end CNC machines. $6 to make the part, they sell it for $200, $300. So I know the markup is there. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so you've taken the hours of craftsmanship out of it. Now, I do say that they boasted at the time, they took a lot of time in the finishing of these guns, the polishing and all that kind of stuff. But in my mind, there was no way these guns were worth $6,000 or $7,000. But now they've only gone up since then, okay? So that's my bias against them. I have only seen them in person. I've never handled one, and I've never shot one. Now, the Cabot that we have on the table today is not quite the one that I'm hoping to review, because I really want to review a standard 1911, one at 45 ACP, single stack, kind of what Cabot started with. But like all of the other 1911 manufacturers out there, when the 2011 style pistols became popular, they had to get in the 2011 style pistol game. And that's what we have today with the Cabot Insurrection. Now, look at that gun. I mean, that thing's beautiful. I mean, you cannot deny, okay, that Cabot makes a beautiful gun. Now, I have looked at this since I got it here on the workbench, okay, and really gotten to inspect this thing and look at it. And everything I've read about them is pretty much true when it comes to how they're finished. I mean, there is not a blemish, a machine mark on this thing at all. It's definitely a work of art. Now, this particular model, I want to say, is like in the $7,000 range. Now, it's a 9mm double stack 2011 style pistol, so it does have that, you know, kind of like that STI kind of grip module, but this is not polymer. This thing is machined. I mean, this is a hefty gun. It is ported. As you can see, we got suppressor height sights, but they co-witness. I guess I shouldn't say co-witness, but you can see them through the red dot if you have a red dot mounted. We have a Trigicon up here. This gun has not been fired. So D is letting me shoot this for the very first time. Now, when it comes to the action of this gun, that's super smooth. I mean, that's just buttery smooth, okay? And I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. I'm really going to have to work hard to temper my bias, okay? I think I'll do a good job. I've shot enough guns and reviewed enough guns to do that. But I still kind of blame Cabot a little bit for in the early 2010s, for the price of 1911s, even base model 1911s for basic companies doubling in price because they wanted to keep up with Cabot guns. Now, having it here on the workbench, I have to say, it's beautiful, seems to be put together great. But there's one thing about it that I actually do not think is that good for the price, okay? And when I dry fire this, the trigger on that take-up, little bit gritty. I mean, it's kind of gritty. It's kind of hard. It kind of gets stuck. You hit the wall. Man, that's going to be like a... I tell you what, I think, I'm going to guess 5 pounds, which is, in my opinion, really high for a 1911 trigger. Really high for 1911 trigger. Now, it could be lighter than that. Let me up the trigger pull weight gauge here. Let me see what this thing is. Okay, let me clear that average. But it's going to be, on a gun like this, I think I want 3.5 pounds. I want 3.5 pounds for what this is. This is going to be 4.5 to 5, I bet. Just based off of that feel. But let's see. Okay, so this surprises me, okay? So I didn't do this before I filmed this. It's saying 3 pounds, 11.4 ounces, okay? It does not feel that light. It does not feel like a 4-pound trigger. Let me try this again. £3 pounds, 13.3 ounces. Okay, so I'm thinking there's something with this trigger that makes me feel like it's a little bit heavier. Now, I just filmed that rage report on that Kimber Pro Eclipse 2, that OG Jack lent to the channel, And that gun had an exceptional trigger. I mean, the take-up on it was super smooth. This one's a little bit gritty, and it makes me feel like it's a little bit heavier. I still would like it in the 3 to 3.5 pound range, but it's a little bit heavier than I thought it would be. But yeah, the Cabot Insurrection. But that's kind of like my initial thoughts on it, but it is a beautiful gun, and that's my biases, and I'm just curious if you guys have any thoughts on Cabot guns if you know about them. So, but I will try to not let those biases affect me when I review it. All right, let's move on to the next gun. Another 2011. And I know you competition guys hate it when I review 2011s because you guys know I'm not a competition shooter and say, you know, you suck at those. Okay, whatever. But let's see here. We got the Staccato XL, but I believe this is a new model. And this one is also unfired, and Dee is giving me the honor of putting the first rounds through this. Here it is. The Staccato XL, but it has something I think they refer to as the island barrel. So let me show you what that is here on top. So the slide does not fully enclose the barrel. The front sight is actually on the barrel. So if I pull the slide back, you can see how that works. Now, how is that going to translate into the shootability of the gun, the accuracy of the gun? I don't know. Now, I guess if you're running iron sights, that's probably a little bit better because now there's a direct connection between the front sight and the barrel, and that's going to be the same regardless, no matter what the lockup of the slide is. But everyone's going to run these with red dots, and here we have an Aimpoint Acro on it. How is that going to translate into the shootability of this gun? Having that barrel like that. It's not ported. It's not ported. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I don't know. And even though the gun is unfired, I can already tell it is wearing a little bit around that barrel. You can see it right there. I'm sure that's probably going to, see if I have a towel here. Ugh, that's probably going to rub off right now. Yeah, it will. But that tells me there's a little bit of contact right there. So maybe that's supposed to help with lockup. No, I can see a little bit of marks there. And it's really kind of weird to see the barrel lugs, the locking lugs up here on top. So this is going to be a really interesting gun. I think Staccato makes a fantastic gun. And let's see here. Okay, so that trigger, I think, is what a 2011 should feel like. Oh, yeah. In my opinion, that is a better trigger than the Cabot. Let's test this one out, too. By the way, thank you, Craig, once again, for the gift of this awesome lineman trigger pull weight gauge. I do appreciate it. You gave it to me a long time ago, but I got to thank you from time to time on that. All right, here we go. Let's see what this Staccato's trigger is. Okay. There you go. 2 pounds, 3.7 ounces. Yeah, man. Now, for a competition gun and a gun of this price point, which, by the way, this thing's a lot less than that Cabot. 2 pounds, 4.3 ounces. Let's try one more time here. Okay, maybe that was wrong. That says 1 pound, 15.2 ounces. Let's do that again. That one could have been me. Maybe I pulled a little bit wrong. Okay, 2 pounds, 5.3 ounces. Yeah, 5.3 ounces. That trigger is really nice. It's not gritty. It's not like the Cabot. So that feels awesome. That feels really, really nice. So that's the Staccato XL, and I got to look up exactly what it is. I think this is the Pistol 2001 Staccato XL Optics Ready CS Frame 9mm DLC TIN Island Tact Texture. There you go. That's what that is. So that's going to be a really cool gun to shoot. And I'll probably take it to the range at the same time as I do the Cabot, because I think that would help give me a better perspective on both pistols, comparing or being at the range at the same time as two 2011 pistols. So that's the second gun I have on the channel, in the queue to review, along with all the other guns I have. And then finally, I like the way this one looks. And this is going to be one of those, I usually don't like guns in camo, but this isn't your typical camo. Here we go. This is the Volquartsen. I have to get this right. This is I think this is the Mamba. It doesn't say on it, but it's their 22 target pistol, but it's based off of the Ruger 2245. So we have a 2245 lower receiver here, and it says 2245 on it, but I'm trying to see if it says Ruger. I don't know if it's their own or just one that they buy from Ruger. I don't know. But take a look at that digital camo with the yellow. I like that. I didn't think I'd like it. To me, usually I think yellow on guns kind of looks a little bit gaudy. We got this gold-plated, charging thing on the bolt in the back here. And this muzzle device is actually removable. So one of the things I hate is when you put on these brakes and you can't take them off. This one you can. It just threads on. And it matches that gun really well. Isn't that a cool gun? So I'll probably take this one to the range. I think I have two other ones in 22 long rifle I need to go shoot. So I'll probably do like a 22 long rifle day as well. So this is the Volquartsen Mamba. And I got to get the exact model on that. I know that Dee sent me all of the information. I guess trying to go in that whole vein. Look at this. Underneath the barrel, you got like these snake scale kind of texturing. So that's pretty cool. So normally Dee sets these things up with optics, as you saw with his other guns. But this one, he's just running irons on it. And he's going to let me take the first shots with it as well. So I think a good 22 target pistol should be really accurate with irons. And so I'm looking forward to shooting this. So yeah, that is going to be a lot of fun. So what do you guys think? Some really cool guns on the table today. So the Cabot, the Staccato, and the Volquartsen. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And does Dee have an amazing gun collection or what? Just amazing gun collection. And like my friend Jack, number 2, he has a bunch of super high-end guns. Dee has a bunch of super high-end guns. It's just kind of a dream to get to shoot these things. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And then, of course, I'm blessed beyond my wildest dreams of everyone else that's linked guns to the channel. Guns that are more in my price point range, recently. In fact, you guys haven't seen the video yet, but I recently did the Colt M5. That was linked to the channel by Raul. And, of course, I got Jack number 1, who let me borrow that really sweet Kimber. Man, I got so many. And I have other people that have contacted me, people from the past, like, hey, I got more guns. I think my friend Tony has something. I just got to get through the pile of guns. And it's so cool to get to do these reviews. You have no idea how blessed I am. I say it all the time. I'm the luckiest man in the gun tubeverse. And that is true. So anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Hope you guys like the upcoming projects. And thank you, Dee, for lending these to the channel. And I got to get these to the range, as well as the other cool guns. Jack number 2 was lent to the range. I have another gun Jack number 1 has lent. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I have in there? Oh man, got so much work to do. But that's what the summer's for. That's what the summer's for. I'm trying to go as fast as I can for everybody, but still make it quality. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And what is the word of the day? The word of the day. The word of the day is going to be, I tell you what, a hard one to use. Mamba. Mamba. Because I believe this is the Mamba. Yeah, I think so. So that's what this is. The Volquartsen Mamba. So, word of the day. Let me know what you think about these really cool guns. And what do you guys think about my whole concept of Cabot and my thoughts on them and maybe my bias? And did you guys ever notice that there was companies that did this kind of stuff in the past and drove all the other companies to raise their prices quicker than inflation and kind of maybe ruined an industry temporarily or permanently? Let me know. So, as always, thanks for watching.